So I am torn on the finale. For most of it, I didn't like it at all. I think it's actually the weakest finale and probably the weakest season of the show, but the way they ended it was almost perfect. So I'm going to talk about that towards the end. I liked everything about that last 10-minute sequence, and it gets me really excited for the show going forward, which is great because we may get a lot more seasons. So I'll break it down three main reasons. I don't think the season as a whole or the finale really worked. McCreary as a villain, as the big bad, he was okay, he was likable. He reminded me a bit of Murphy, if Murphy, rather than getting more and more good each season, he just got more and more evil. I got a very similar vibe. So he was a likable villain, but kind of one-dimensional. And I think Dioza, she would have been such a more interesting character. I hate how she faded to the background. And one of my favorite moments was the little talk she was having with Octavia. And we get this great line, two serpents in the garden, Eden never stood a chance. It's just a very nice exchange. I wish they built more of the season around that and this kind of alliance between the two of them. I feel like they just dropped her off for some reason, and we never really got her mythology and her backstory fleshed out. I thought we were going to learn more about the terrorist organization she was a part of, what caused and what led to the apocalypse that started this all. We've never really learned that, and we didn't get any of that mythology at all, which I thought was disappointing. And these arcs that they took Clark and Octavia down, they just kind of fizzled out to me. They took these characters to such dark places. Clark putting a collar on Maddie, pulling a gun on her friends, turning on Bellamy, just such horrible things. And then I feel like they thought that line she got from Lexa was going to land a lot more than it did. But for me, it wasn't a really satisfying conclusion to this arc. And now I feel like we're back to square one with all these characters, all these original characters, Clark, Octavia. I feel like we're kind of back to, well, they're just kind of like they always were, kind of just good part of the group. But I feel like we didn't get that satisfying conclusion to this dark arc with Clark, and then really, really dark with Octavia. And the whole cannibalism thing, it seemed like a bit of just shock value thrown in rather than season 2, which I think was the high point that I don't know if the show will ever get back to. Season 2, when you had this dark stuff, the harvesting, it seemed necessary to put these characters in these tough situations, make them make decisions that were really going to affect them, and we were going to see how it changes the character going forward. Here, I just feel like they threw it in for shock value and then are kind of going to move away from it and not really bring it up again, which I think is a shame. And then I guess Octavia was pulled out of her spiral by poor Jaha, his little surrogate son dying and all her people dying around her. But I don't feel like it was a satisfying arc. And a great example is when Clark is holding the gun to Dioza's stomach. It reminded me of in season 2 when she's holding the gun to Dante, but that was such a incredible moment where we see this character that we've grown with, and we see the lengths she'll go to, what she's willing to do, and it was just so different. Now you see her holding the gun, and at this point it's just different. It just didn't land like it has in the past. But now moving to the positive going forward, I think that I'm really excited with where they've decided to take things. One, it was just perfect how they ended it with Bellamy and Clark not having a romantic moment, but just having a kind of human moment together. I love their friendship, not necessarily a relationship, but just them as friends, them as complementary leaders, balancing each other out, checking each other. So I thought it was a really, really nice way to end things. How Harper and Monty died, getting older and older while everyone else slept. I thought it's really sad to see them go, but it was a great way to give them a nice send-off. And in season 3, we got these shocking, just gratuitous, Lincoln dies, Lexa dies, and it's very brutal deaths, almost like Game of Thrones. This was the complete opposite. It was saying goodbye to a character. They are leaving the show, but it was such a more peaceful, and I just thought more impactful way. I thought we were going to get a death, and this one was actually one I was completely not happy with who it was, but really happy with how the show handled it. And then Monty's son being named after Jasper was perfect. Him saying Murphy during his rebellious phase was his favorite. It's probably Murphy still his favorite if we're being honest. I liked everything about that. And going to the new planet now, it's going to be really interesting because the 100, I feel like it's always seemed to say that try as humans might, we're always going to kind of form these divisions and go head to head with each other, and there's never a perfect system that we're going to be able to come up with. We're always just going to be locked in these cycles of violence. So this is the chance. We have a completely new planet, a lot of new characters, new friendships. So it'll be interesting to see if midway through the next season we're going to be locked in the same exact stuff we've been going through season after season now for 5 seasons, or if we're finally the show's going to change and we're going to see us start to develop, work towards actually rebuilding society. And it'll be interesting. Looks like we're going to get get a lot more seasons. So we'll see where things go from that. And I'm curious, let me know your thoughts and especially how it compares to other seasons. Because for me, I think it's the worst season. Season 3 made some questionable decisions, but it sticks out in my mind more. There was Pike and Bad Bellamy and the City of Light, which, again, that storyline didn't always work, but it's a memorable season for me. Season 4 had these great moments. Season 1, obviously, it was the first season, so, and Season 2 was a standout. So, yeah, it's probably my least favorite season, but I'm curious what you guys think. And last thing I want to say, I never really asked for likes or anything. If you could, I'm going to put a link to my last video I made, my Better Call Saul, that got demonetized, just the robot who looks at the keywords. I used the word pills, and I think that's what did it, but it was completely harmless. It shouldn't have got demonetized, and you need to hit 1,000 views to get a review in, and then they can review it and take the demonetization off. So if you could just click the link, you don't have to watch the video, just click it so it gets a view, and I can get to 1,000. It just bugs me. I did put effort into it, and it's such a shame too. It's not a ton of money, obviously, but it's more just the principle. So I don't ask for help a lot. If you could help me out with that, I'd appreciate it.